This is Adamantly Analog, episode 76. This week, we're talking about games we let go. All right, hello and welcome to Adamantly Analog, episode 76. I'm your host, Corey Murphy.
Whoa, that was a lot of energy. I'm your other host, Harrison Dunn.
But the only podcast that brings 110% of the time.
I approve of that statement 110%.
Yeah, go with me here. We are going to talk about games that we are sad to have let go.
Or just games that we let go that we like. Yes, we liked that, but it was let go for a reason, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I think the bittersweet goodbye of board games.
Now, Harrison, it has been a week. What have you been doing with your life?
Yes, it has been a week since we've last spoke. So last time we saw each other, a week and a half ago, I let you borrow Vantage, which you ranted and raved about and loved it. And you
Yeah.
let me borrow Gaia Project, and it took me a little bit to get through the rule book because I just wasn't prioritizing it. And then I brought it to game night last night, and we only had 6 people. We usually have a few more, so we broke into 2 groups of 3. And the 2 I was with, I was like, guys, do you want to play Gaia Project? They're like, sure. What is it? And I was
What
like,
is it? Oh no,
have
famous
you guys
last
played
words.
Terra Mystica? They're like, nope. I'm like, are you up for something really heavy? And they're like, yeah, like really heavy. And they were all for it. The teach was a slog, as expected,
Yeah.
but they got it, and our final scores were like within 4 points of each other.
Nice.
So that was a success. The part that was not a success was where about midway through the 3rd round of 6, I realized that I had gotten one rule critically wrong. And up to that point, I had been abusing that. And I was like, this doesn't feel right. I feel like I'm pulling way far ahead and should not be doing this well. Because basically I had gotten conflated in my head how you move up a research track. So I had misread the rules and thought that every time on your turn that you pay 4 knowledge to move up a research track, you also take the corresponding upgrade token. So like halfway through round 3, I had like 6 or 7 upgrade tokens in front of me. Yeah, and
Whoops.
that's not how that game works at all. You're only supposed to get them when you get a specific type of building. So once I realized that, I was like, I don't know how to fix this, so I'm gonna put them all back, and I'm gonna zero out my resources for the round and just pass. And they're like, oh, okay, sure. And after that mess up, we all ended within 4 points of each other. So
Oh,
I
nice.
would say
Okay. Good
I would
stuff.
say whatever mess up I made, I did the appropriate course correction to make it feel like a fair and close game.
Yeah.
Um, so, uh, actual thoughts on the game, I think I like it more than Terra Mystica, to be
Yeah,
honest.
you're right,
Like,
Harrison. You're right.
like it's so for those outside the know, the Gaia Project is the spiritual successor to a board game favorite Terra Mystica, a giant crunchy Euro civilization builder in a fantasy setting where you're shaping the terrain around you to uh, basically accommodate whatever fantasy race you have picked to pilot. And Gaia Project does add some complexities to it, but it does so much to make the gameplay just feel cleaner and a little bit safer too. Um, like one of the big things that I called out to Lauren when I was telling her about this game is that in Terra Mystica you have those like 3 power banks that you're cycling power between, and you have the option to like permanently burn power to cycle some power faster. And when and how you do that is critical to your early turns. And Gaia Project kind of leans into that and gives you a way to restock that power, and even makes large chunks of like burning or temporary burning a mechanic. Um,
Hmm.
so I really appreciated that, like, they recognized that that was maybe a pain point or a steep learning curve element, and like made it a core function of the game. Um, so that there's just so many fewer bits to deal with, because instead of having individual bits for every single resource. I'm not taking individual coins or workers. I'm just moving things up on a track. I'm not fiddling with terrain tokens every time I want to terraform or partially terraform something. Um, it was a much easier game to physically play too.
Nice.
I do have one complaint though,
Okay.
and it's something that I've taken revenge on already. The way that you bagged your game was more fiddly than any game I've ever played.
What can I do to make that better?
You
Sure.
for anyone listening, there's 9, like, standard research tiles, and the way you set those up is there's, like, 1 marked as the standard, as, like, the base tile. You use those to randomize, then you set them out, and then you put the other 3 tiles that match it on that same pile. Corey had the randomizers in their own bag, and then he had each of the other 3 tiles for the 9 sets in each of their other bags, so it was 10 bags total for effectively 1 piece of setup.
You better
So
have
I
put him
did
back that way too.
I did not. I did not. We put the randomizers in one bag, and we put the other, tiles in one bag, and then I put all of the remaining extra baggies in another bag and put it back in the box. So, that I was I if you feel strongly about it, I can fix it before I return it to you,
No, I'm
but
just teasing.
yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad to have played it, and I hope to get a play or 2 in again before sending it back to you.
Cool. Yeah, I just got on Etsy. I'm looking for organizers because you're not wrong. It's a lot of pieces and a lot of bags. So I'm all open to improvements, even if it costs me like $55 on
Yeah.
Etsy.
We gotta get a friend with a 3D printer.
We really do. Yeah. If you're
Yeah.
listening to this and you have a 3D printer, please email us at adamantlyanalyanalog@gmail.com.
And you must also be willing to ship it to us and or live within, like, 20 minutes of either of us.
Yeah, I'll pay for it.
Yeah. There you go. How about you, Corey? What you been playing?
Oh god. So we went on a family vacation to Houston over the weekend, and for the record, if you're not familiar, we are from Wisconsin, so that is far away and it requires an airplane. So we flew out there on Friday afternoon. I had to leave work early to get there. And then I brought a bunch of games with me because I wanted to pack some in my carry-on that the family could play. So I packed Innovation. I put like the base game contents in like a magic deck box. I brought Flip 7, The Gang, and Twice as Clever. We played a lot of them. In fact, we played all of them, and we played the Flip 7 multiple times. That one was a real hit with the family. So, nothing new in that list that we haven't already talked about, but I do want to just kind of reiterate how clunky Twice as Clever is to teach. We played it with my dad and my uncle, and I don't know that they understood what they were doing until the very end of the game, and I'm not so sure that even then they knew what they were doing. But there's one of those games where it's like, "Oh, yeah," and then there's this, like, one more thing that we gotta talk about, and I feel like I'm constantly stopping to explain that one more thing and then
Mhm.
forgetting that there's actually, like, 5 more things, so
Yep.
not a complicated game inherently, and it's got a lot of gamery mechanics that you'd probably recognize if you play games already, but for my uncle, he was like, he was in over his head a little bit, but it is fun. That game is all about, like, little combos, and it just feels like you're playing a slot machine, and, when it goes right, it's really enjoyable and entertaining. The Gang, I have to report back because I know I've talked endlessly about this one, but The Gang, the cooperative poker game, I've mentioned how hard it is with larger player counts, and it goes up to 6. We won with 6 players for the first time ever. I just wanted to say
Oh,
that out
wow.
loud in
Congrats.
public. Yes, it was
On the
incredible, and
record.
yeah, on the record. Things had to go right, and we definitely used the cards, like, if you lose a round, you get a card that's like a boon. We use
Right.
those to great advantage. But, yeah, it happened. It was fun. So I've been
Wow.
chasing that elusive six-player victory for a long time. Now we got it. I think if you're interested in this game, just know that the difficulty does scale extensively with, like, 3 players, it's very easy. With 6 players, it's, like, incredibly difficult. But, after a couple of games with each other, we got to know each other's patterns and strategies and the way of thinking about their hands, and it's really like a human progression in this game. You know what I mean? Like, it's not
Right.
like the game mechanics are progressing you. It's like understanding how everyone else is thinking is the growth that you do as a team, and that's really cool. I like that idea.
So
I have
to
Yeah.
reflect your question back at you about the mind, do you think this game has legs if you played it with the same group over and over and over?
Oh, the gang?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, because
Okay.
it even if you do understand what the team is trying to do, you still have to be properly interpreting the tells that they're using. And then there's enough diversity with those end of round cards that show up um, when you lose and win a hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and then I just have to report this. It's not related to board games, but just on the topic of being in Houston with the family, which was 100% worth it. It was like my grandfather's 90th birthday and my grandmother's 89th, so it was really nice to get the family together and see them. But the stress of traveling on a weekend while you're a teacher and you have like a bunch of important things on Monday morning is real, and the government shutdown did not help. I don't mean to get political or anything, but I have to say we got in line 5 hours before our flight on Sunday. We missed our flight.
Oh,
I'm not
wow.
I'm not not even exaggerating. We were in line for TSA for 6 hours, and we missed our flight, and we had to fly out Monday morning at 5 AM. We didn't sleep at all. We were just up all night in the airport. I almost lost it when we got through security lines and it was 9:45 and all the restaurants closed at 10. And when we got there, they were closing early because they didn't think anyone else was gonna come. I was like, "You have got to be kidding me. I am going to make myself a sandwich back there."
Yeah. Wow. Unreal. That was
Yeah,
the,
so
Houston airport?
yes, the big cities are really bad. Small cities like out of Milwaukee was no big deal. It was like 15 minutes tops, but 6 hours. I've never seen anything like it. There were so many people
Wow.
just circling around in that, in the check-in room, and even spilling out into the parking lot. We had a 2-hour line outside of the building before we even got in.
Oh my god, I cannot imagine just standing there waiting for that. Was it just you and Nikki flying back, or did you fly back with your family too?
Well, the whole family flew back, but many of them had, like, the TSA pre-check-in stuff, so they got on the plane in less than an hour. But yeah, we were standing with my brother for the whole time, and we were holding each other's spot in line while others would go to the bathroom.
Oh,
Thank
wow.
God we didn't have little kids with us. There were some around us that did. Like, there was this little boy in a stroller behind us, and he was a champ, man. I don't know how you could do it when you're a toddler and just have such a good attitude for 6 straight hours, but he just enjoyed eating his crackers and taking the nap.
I'm glad you didn't try to steal his crackers.
I was looking at him, that's for sure. "Hey, dude, you gonna eat all those?"
Yeah, I don't care if your fingers are sticky, I'll take some.
Yeah, right. I do. I do care a lot, so that's kind of the thing that kept me from asking. Um, so we're gonna talk about games that we loved and let go today. I think it's time to move on to the feature topic. Harrison, in order to determine who goes first today, we are going to use a mechanic or a tool, I should say, from a game that I let go. I wouldn't say I necessarily loved the game, but you might be familiar with the game of life. And the game of life, famous for its spinner, which is actually a very, very satisfying thing to use in a board game. That clicking that goes on
Yes.
when it spins, it's really good. So I have a simulated life spinner here, and I'm going to spin it to determine the first player. How does that sound?
I have a better suggestion.
Too late,
Since
spinning.
since we're talking about games that
Right.
we are sad we let go, you could almost say we regret it. What if we use the first player rule from Deep Regrets?
Oh, okay, alright, let's do that, but,
Ooh.
life did determine that player 3 goes first, but carry on.
uh, the first player rule for Deep Regrets, horror fishing card game that came out earlier this year,
Uh-huh.
is give the first player marker to the person who has had the most regrettable day.
Oh, today?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Have you caught up on your sleep?
Um, kind of. I wouldn't say I have regrets about it because it's completely out of my control, but, I maybe have regrets about trying to squeeze a trip in on the weekend. I don't know. Like I
Yeah.
said, it was worth it. Good cause. Nice to get together with the family. How about
I
you?
had to I had to impromptu take Murphy to the vet today because he's got this weird thing on the back of his leg, and we
No,
noticed
no.
that it is getting bigger and scalier and darker, and we're like, "Uh-oh, what's that?"
Hmm.
So I spent some time at the vet today. Turns out it was just a scab that got slightly infected, and he's probably fine.
Oh,
And so we have a topical ointment for it. It's fine. But I used a lot of time at the vet for a good
yeah.
cause, but also did not get as much done today as I wanted to.
Oh, dogs, who needs them?
So it sounds like player 3 is going first.
Yeah, player 3. Okay, so that's you. It
Oh,
seems like you regret, letting your dog injure himself on the leg and then probably lick it incessantly, yeah?
it was at a place he can't reach, so
Hmm. Oh, okay.
Maybe, maybe
Thankfully.
not. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, he's fine,
Yeah.
everyone. He's fine. Don't worry. He's good. He's good. He's happy. He's a happy boy.
Yeah.
All
My
right,
brother from
my
another mother.
true. My first game is one of the. I've mentioned this before, and I talk about it this way a lot. So hopefully, people do not jump to shout out the game name before I get to it. But this is a game that I picked up when I was very early into my board game hobby, and it was just overwhelming for me at the time. Didn't quite get it. It was just asking a bit much. And since then, or even in the last year or two, I've like, man, I really want to play that game again. And I've had the chance, and I still want to play it more. So this is the thing that I put back on my wish list. That I'm just looking for like the right marketplace deal or like on the used shelf at the local game store, and that is 2012's Seasons from Libellude.
Mhm.
This is a card drafting tableau building game about basically being wizards training over the course of I think it's a 3 or 4 years, and each of the seasons is tracked on this like dial in the middle of um the table on a board. I should say it's not card drafting. There is a card drafting variant. It's a dice drafting and engine building, but you are rolling dice based on the season. So certain elements are more prevalent during different seasons, and then you're using those to like summon different trinkets or familiars or items to help you build an engine to generate more stuff and get points. Um, it feels a lot like or the recent game that released, the Veil of Eternity is kind of like a streamlined version of it, and that's I think Veil
Mhm.
of Eternity is released last year. It's kind of what kicked off my desire to have this game back in my collection. Um, but yeah, I ended up getting rid of it just because it was so hard to get to the table relative to the rest of the games that I owned, and it I didn't have that strong attachment to it because I had such like a bad taste from my first few tries with it. So that's why it left the collection, and I'm hoping at one point it makes it back in there.
Yeah, that's a sweet game. I like the theming better than Veil of Eternities. Now, the Veil of Eternities creatures are kind of fun, but I don't know what it is. It's just like maybe it's like the cardboard dragon thing, and I don't know. The card art seems a little generic to me. Seasons is it seems like a more of a fully imagined universe, but as
Mhm.
a result of that, it's a little bit more of a deeper, heavier game, so it's harder to access for players that are newer to the hobby. I don't know, take them or leave them. I really do. I agree that you kind of only need one because they sort of feel similarly in the sense that they're this kind of closed system. It's like drafting a cube in a way, right?
Right.
Um, and this is another one that I've had myself and got rid of, or I should say, I gave it to my sister. So I remember playing it when I lived with my sister. I do miss this one. I'd like to add this one to my collection too. Good pick, Harrison.
Yeah, yeah. I like this one. It's a good time. Would play it again. Put it on the list. Uh,
Mhm.
that is Seasons from Libellude.
This one's on Board Game Arena, and I always feel when I play on Board Game Arena that I'm playing with players that are like they're aware of the meta, and they like there is a meta because it's a smaller collection of cards. It's one single box.
Right.
And I feel like I'm very much on the outside. They know the synergies to play with.
Yes. Yes, this is definitely a if you know, you know type game.
Yeah. All right. Well, my first pick was one that was added to the collection during the early days of board gaming. The thing that you can no longer recreate when you're years and years into the hobby and your shelf collection is just too darn big. But when you're online on the Facebook marketplace groups thinking, wow, look at all these cheap games. Why are people getting rid of this for $20? I'll give that one a try. you know, so I picked up this game called Gentis once, and it is a Spielworks game by Stefan Rieshaus, who is the designer of Arkwright and Santo Domingo and other Euro games. I didn't know much about it other than it was a civilization themed game. It's not really a civilization game. It's more like a Euro, like action selection, sort of worker placement esque game in which you are building a tableau of cards that have these almost like cave paintings on them. And those cards build, they build this engine for you. They improve your action abilities and things like that. You're also managing a population of different types of workers, and that is done in a very unusual way. That if you have like 5 workers of one type, the worker on the opposite side of that same track is limited to 5 as well. Like a total of 10. So they kind of you have to sort of balance between the different types. Easier to see than to explain on a podcast, but that is a big factor of this one.
Yeah, I'm super confused.
Yeah. But let me put it this way, there's 3 different rows, and on each row, the left and right side of that row represents a different type of worker, and so you're showing your population by putting a piece in in that row and, like, counting the available spaces, so you can say, like, "I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these artisans," but then that limits how many you have on the right side of that same row. Does that make sense? Kinda?
Let's say yes.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't matter. We're moving on anyway. The point is, it's a Euro game and it's got some depth to it, right? But
Okay.
the very cool thing, and I think this does make sense, is the action selection are these little cardboard tiles that are placed all around the board. There are a limited supply of them, and once they're taken, that action is not available, or it reveals another tile underneath it that costs more for the next players. And the
Hmm.
actions they represent uh, different actions that take different amounts of time. And so there's these little hourglass tokens that are used to show that time, and they fill up the available time you have in each round. And so you can take really high powered actions that take a lot of time and then have fewer of them to do on your turn, or you can just kind of limp in with a bunch of like short actions that kind of amount to something bigger. So basically, you're filling your available time track on the top of your personal player board and increasing the amount of time you have with different abilities that you can take throughout the game too. So really clever. As you can tell from the description, though, there's some depth to it. It's a little harder to explain because it's got a lot of different things going on. It's a weight 3.16 on Board Game Geek. Um, it's not visually super striking, so it's kind of hard to convince players that they should play this. It's basically just a kind of muted map of the Mediterranean, which we've seen that before, right?
Yeah, a couple times.
Uh, yeah, and like the pieces are like nothing really remarkable. It's a lot of cardboard in this game, and then quite a few cards. So I have regrets because I liked playing this. I liked showing it to new players, but I have to, like I said, I have to be realistic. And selling a game from my shelf means I have room for a new game to take its place. So this one got axed.
Organtis.
Poor Gentis. Yeah.
Yep.
I was tempted though. There's a deluxe version of it out there. I was like, hey, maybe I'd play it more if it was really fancy. But that is flawed logic, friends. Don't do that. Don't go that route.
So then I shouldn't tell you that there has been a used copy of the deluxe edition on the shelf at my friendly local game store for a couple weeks now, and I've almost considered getting it a couple times.
I mean, you should. I think you'd like it. It It's cool. It's a cool game, and if it's used, like, pick it up, play it for a while, and then just sell it to someone else. That's kinda what we did. We got it for 20 bucks. I probably sold it for 20 bucks. Um, but yeah, it's worth checking out. They
Okay.
they
All right.
they are re-implementing it. There's another one, a Gentis game, coming out, I think this year or maybe next year. It's called Epos, and I don't know much about it, but from the pictures, it looks like just a remake of Gentis. A little more colorful, but same muted style to it.
Yeah, it says it's re-implementing it. So it is a game collection. So it has the base game, 8 scenarios, and a campaign.
Oh, scenarios,
So
campaign.
it
Well,
is
okay, new.
so maybe there is some of this in your future, huh?
There might be, but I'm looking at this one. I'm kind of disappointed that the art is just as exciting as the original game, which is not exciting. And I think that would be the thing that I would have hoped they improved in this case. And it's kind of more of the same, unfortunately.
Mm.
All right, and that is Gentis 2014 from Spielworks.
All right. So my second game that I want to talk about is one that I think I got rid of just because I didn't give it a fair shake, and it probably hit for me at the wrong time. This is a game that I think would have fallen like perfectly into that same slot as Dominion or Ascension or something if I had gotten it like at the time that I was getting into board games. And that is Quarriors from WizKids. So Quarriors, that's like Warriors with a QU instead of a W, is a dice bag building game. So it feels a lot like a deck builder, except the cards that you're putting in your deck are dice, and then you pull them out of your bag, and then you roll them to get stuff, to get more stuff, and then you go until
Mm,
the dice pools run out. I actually don't remember the exact end condition. We've only played it like 2 or 3 times, um, but I got rid of it just because it fits that short deck buildy type style game. Uh, but I had kind of just moved past that, like wanting to play that same thing and get that dopamine hit over and over and over. I'd much rather play, a wide variety of games. And this one just felt like it wasn't at the right time for me. Um, but it's so cool. It has like a bunch of different dice in it, custom dice, the same like joy that you get from opening like a chip theory game. It's just got a bunch of the custom dice in it.
mm,
uh, the downside was that the monster cards or character cards that would explain what all the dice faces do were just standard, like poker sized cards with super tiny text. And then you'd have to like read across the table or pass them around to figure out what the thing actually was that you were buying. So, um, actually, I think a version of that, like something that does the same thing but a little better, feels like Cubitos, sort of. Um,
sure. I can see
yeah,
that.
kind of in that same vein. So, yeah, this is did you ever play this one?
No, but I am interested. It looks like it's got some CCG-esque kind of vibes to it. Is that accurate or is it
Yeah,
on
kind of. Like
point?
it feels like it has that 90s monster collectible vibe to it, but it's
Ah,
a
okay.
self-contained game. They have like 3 or 4 expansions that add like pretty much as much content to the base game as there was. Like there was a ton of stuff for this game.
Hmm.
And I had the base game and like one or one and a half expansions or something like that. That were I all kind of kept in a single box before
Hmm.
getting rid of it.
Okay, I'm embarrassed to ask, is this some kind of play on words that has to do with dice? Quarriors? What does the QU imply?
I think that it has something to do with quad, like quadratic warriors or something like that. Like I think that the
Oh,
fictional world had something to do with that. I guess I could just look at it and see if the quarriors, mighty mystical warriors who have the power to capture dangerous quarry from the untamed wilds. So no, it's not even a mathematic thing. Oh, they
okay.
must conjure the mysterious powers of quiddity, uh, cast powerful spells, and summon their creatures to battle if they hope to overcome rivals and earn their rightful place as the champion.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, exactly. It kind of plays at a thing that I am coming to the realization that games with nonsense words or made up words in the title are making it very difficult for themselves. They're like, if you put a nonsense or made up word in the title of your game, you are rolling the dice on even people latching onto it or being okay with that word. Um, so yeah, this is like Seasons. It's not a very exciting title, but Seasons, like, you'll know what that word is. You can kind of infer it has meaning by itself. Um, but Couriers, on the other hand, I think that's just it's a bit much working against it to start for some folks.
Yeah, you really have to consider the search engine optimization opportunities there. And seasons might be too generic, but couriers, I'd say that that gets you directly to this game if you were to look for it.
Yeah. So that is my second pick, Quarriors from WizKids.
All right, my second pick is Gloomhaven 2017. Many have heard of Gloomhaven, so I don't know go into too much depth, but I did want to make a point about this one, and that is similar to the point made on the last pick, which is that if it's on my shelf, it's taking up space, and Gloomhaven takes up a lot of space. So I don't have room for this coffin box to just sit there forever because after a few months of that, I was like, let me just be real with myself. There's no way I'm going to play through this whole campaign again. That took 2 years. And
Yeah.
we loved every bit of it. I have great memories of playing through Gloomhaven. We have unlocked every character in the game. We haven't played all of the scenarios, but I think we've gotten to the end of it and unlocked the secret things that are baked into the game. I won't spoil those. And then what I ended up doing is I took all of those bits that we made an absolute mess of, and I reset the game. I put them back where they came from. I sealed the envelopes and put them back in the box. And then I sold it. And I sold it for, I don't know, like $60 because it was pretty beat up at the time. But purchasing the game in the first place, this was like the first big game that I added to my collection. It was maybe like, I don't know, $150 at the time. And I think all of that was paid for with Magic the Gathering modern tournament earnings that I had just like pulled in an account.
Oh,
So
dang.
that was weeks and weeks of playing like Wednesday night Magic at my shop. But, this is the type of game that I wanna share with so many people, and it's just so hard to find the time. I don't know how often I've brought this up to my friends, that we play RPGs with on Sunday nights. It's like, "We need to play Gloomhaven," and I'm usually referring to the Steam version because, you can do that at a distance,
Yeah.
but to do it, I mean, it would take us, like, 2 more years to get through the game.
Right.
And probably, like, maybe 2 or 3 sessions just to explain how to play it in the first place. It's not easy. It's a complicated game, and it's a challenging game too. So I think there's a lot of failure in the on the front end that you have to sort of get through to get to the core strategies and how to work through as a team.
I have not played the base game of this, like,
Okay.
beyond the first, like, mission. That's it. I've started it, like, once or twice with people in person.
Yeah.
I played through Jaws of the Lion, and I really liked that. Played that in person.
Mhm.
And I've been on, like, on the cusp of no, I own Gloomhaven Digital, I think. I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've heard too many, like, things of, "Oh, the connectivity isn't quite there." It can be a buggy experience sometimes, and ultimately, I just have things that I wanna try more, but, I feel
Mm.
like there's a day in my future where I will finally get to play that.
It's like fine. I haven't experienced the problems that have been brought up with the online version. Considering all the things it does, it's worth dealing with those issues, but I don't know. Whatever. To each their own. I haven't played it enough to really know myself. In any case, Harrison, I think we need to do this one day. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not going to say add it to the list because, again, it's just a big commitment, but let's do it sometime.
I think I could get behind that.
Yeah. Cool. And okay, so let's just to backtrack a second. Jaws of the Lion came out, and I think a lot of people ended up playing that as the intro game because it's much
Mhm.
lighter, it's smaller. It was like they were basically giving it away at big box stores for a while. I think I got a copy for $15 of that one. But I don't
Whoa.
think it
Yeah.
I don't think it does a great service to Gloomhaven because part of the excitement is opening up that big box and seeing all these sealed envelopes and sealed boxes of the characters you can unlock throughout the course of the game. And that there's just like so much fun in doing that and working towards that that is lost on Jaws of the Lion. But anyways, I will maybe get into Frosthaven one day, and that'll be my way of reliving the glory days. But my pick for now is Gloomhaven.
Yeah, that one makes sense, right? Like, as a game that would leave your collection and would feel weird about it because you had so many good experiences with it. You
Yeah.
play, especially if you've played as much as you have, you probably have a lot of good memories, but also recognizing that you don't need to relive that again and it still has value. That's some mature stuff right there, Corey. Good job.
Well, thank you.
All right, my third and final game is a worker placement style game from Renegade that I picked up back when I started going to conventions. I was super excited about this one because the theme was fun. It has cool components, and that is Ex Libris. It is the library alphabetization game um, where you play as a wizard in a library trying to catalog different books. You're sending your different assistants to various parts or various locations that are in this village, and then using those to place books into your bookshelves or reorder them, and then scoring points for getting everything alphabetized in your shelf. Um, there are two things about this game that are just make it such a cool thing to hold and interact with. And the first is like the character meeples. So every player gets a familiar assistant or a unique assistant at the beginning of the game, which is basically a worker with special powers. And each of those different characters is a monster that has a unique figure. And most of them are meeples. There's like a snowman and a golem and a robot and like fantasy monsters. But there's also a gelatinous cube assistant, and it's just a plastic green cube, which stands out quite a bit against the rest of the pieces, which is just a fun touch. So there's those things, and then there's the books themselves. There's a deck of book cards, and every single card has, I think, between like 2 and 4 books on it, and the spines all have unique names. And some of these names are just, this is the kind of game where you pull it out, you start teaching it, but if you deal cards to players before you start teaching, they're not going to pay attention to the teach because they're just having a blast reading all the book names that they see on these cards. Like if I go onto BGG right now and just look at a couple cards, it's like there's a book called Donuts, a visual guide. Barbecuing with Hellfire, Gigantic Giants. So both of those things aside, the reason I ended up getting rid of this is like one of the two games that really helped Lauren realize that she doesn't care for worker placement games or even like hates them, um, because there are just so many things working against players enjoying themselves in this game. And I think the core of that comes from just the graphic design and layout of the worker placement spaces. There are these big cards that sit in the middle of the table with super tiny text. The card finish wasn't super friendly to glare, so they would often have glare, and you would need to pick them up and move around. But there's often cards or other players' pieces on them, so it becomes a chore to play. The worker placement gameplay just had some feel bad moments where you could completely lock people out of doing things that they needed to do to score points. Which is typical for a worker placement game, but for this one, it just felt a little worse. Um, there's another book I'm looking at right now, just called Stickopedia, Stickypedia. Gross. So like I regret getting rid of it because we just weren't having the fun that I felt it was promising at first. There is a second edition of this that came out recently. I think last year. That looks like it tries to address some of the issues, but the graphic design is still the same, and you still have the small cards with the small text. So I've not given it a chance, but if you're out there and you've played the second edition and you think it fixes some problems, let me know because I'd be happy to give this one another try.
Nice. Yeah, you talked about this on one of our recent episodes. I can't remember if it was like the spooky games one because of the
No, it wasn't
witchcraft or
that one.
something, or no? Okay, I don't know. Something I remember, even magic episode. I don't know, but that was the first time I had heard of it and been exposed to it. It looks pretty unique. I like the idea of the visual style of just like kind of building these bookshelves. But other than that, I don't have any experience with it. I'd have to try it. Sorry that I can't do it with your collection.
Nope, nope, can't help you there. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so that is my third and final pick, Ex Libris from Renegade Games.
Nice. Okay. And before I give my third and final pick, I just want to mention I had a really hard time with this topic because I don't have a lot of games that I regret getting rid of. There are a few games that I've gotten rid of, and I've looked back and said, "Oh, I really need that one for this situation," because I have so many damn games, and I think everybody does. We have a problem getting rid of games in this community, and I think it's okay to let things go. If they truly are not going to get played, sell them to someone that's going to give them a shot. And I think as gamers and as consumers, we could probably do a better job of just handing things off to one another so that people have a chance of trying things. Thank you for letting me use your Vantage so I don't have to buy it. I will give it back to you. Okay. But it's not something I need to like buy another copy of for my shelf right now because it is overflowing.
Yeah, that's a good call out. Like especially with the government shutdown that you mentioned. I know that a lot of people are going through economic struggles, and I feel like at least personally, we're in a situation where we have a little breathing room in our money, and I can continue to enjoy my hobby. Um, but a lot of people don't. And the nice thing about video games is that there's no DRM or like long end of user licenses that you have to agree to. You own the physical game. You can just like let your friends borrow it and like make a game swap.
Yeah.
Play
You're
games with
probably talking about
friends. Yeah.
board games don't have a DRM, right? Video games do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good point, Corey.
Yeah. There in I fall victim to the Kickstarter hype every now and then, but, there's such a push to spend money on every little, like, deluxeification and upgrade and stuff, and they show you all the cool pieces and bits, and you just dream of how awesome the game's gonna be, but in a lot of cases, we've never even played them before if they're on Kickstarter, right? Unless there's some kind of reprint, and even then, you don't know what they've changed really. So, I do that every now and then, and I bought Andromeda's Edge a while back, thinking, "Wow, this game's gonna be awesome." I was always dreaming about playing Dwellings of Eldervale, which is kind of the precursor to this game with similar mechanics, and I could never get a copy of it. So that scarcity was a factor that was in my mind. And I backed this one at, like, kind of an introductory level. It doesn't have all the ships and stuff, but even then, it was just this huge box. It was similar to Gaia Project. You'd open the lid, and there were just baggies of, like, tons and tons of pieces. Like, it would take 40 minutes to set Andromeda's Edge up. I loved the idea of this game. It was like a Euro game disguised as this kind of confrontational space exploration game. And the engine building was really cool. There was all these neat upgrades everywhere that you had access to. And the way that I don't know, the way that you moved around the board was really fascinating to me, but just did not really deliver on that. And I played it maybe like 2 or 3 times before I decided to get rid of it. It's like, okay, there's not room for it, and my group doesn't really like it, and it's too much of a slog to get it taught in the first place. The reason I have regrets about not having it anymore are because it's like a lot of people's favorite game. I've seen it show up on a lot of lists, and that makes me think that I need to give it another go to see if maybe more experience with it would help. But then again, getting back to my first point, I'm also okay with not knowing because I have plenty of other games that that I like to play. So
Right.
we both had opinions on this one. Long story short, for me, it was just like too wild, and I don't really see that changing too much with repeat plays. But I am curious what others see in it, and maybe it's just the plastic and the minis that they're, you know, uh, drawn their attention is drawn to.
And if that's the case, that's cool too.
Yeah, that's for them.
Yeah. Yeah, we had an interesting conversation at work with the other day about just like the style of game that typically gets played at our game night. And we used to have a couple folks that would come and like want to play these Andromeda's Edge, Dead Reckoning, like Zombicide, like those really just huge, big thematic experiences. And we don't really get those to the table as often anymore. More in favor of like mid-range Euros at the highest.
Mhm.
Like just for play length. So yeah, it's a thing for sure.
Says the
There's a
guy
time
that
and a
showed up
place.
with Gaia Project the other day.
Right. I yeah, I see your point. Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
No, I'm not gonna
different
argue with
game.
that.
Yeah. All right, well, that's our list. Harrison picked Seasons, Quarriors, and Ex Libris, and I picked Gentis, Gloomhaven, and Andromeda's Edge.
That's a sad list, Corey.
Maybe we'll see them again one day. All right, Harrison, that brings us to the end, and this is the chance to shout out something outside of or adjacent to board gaming. Anything you got on your mind?
I've just been playing way too much of the World of Warcraft Legion remix little
Oh,
event that
okay.
they're running right now, where they do an old expansion, and then you can play it again with all the current stuff and craziness that goes with that. It's just been playing that too much. How about you?
Well, just real fast shout out because as we're doing this podcast, I stumbled upon the recent announcement of Tigris and Euphrates remastered, like with the 25th Century Games edition, and Ian O'Toole
Oh,
art. So that's not outside of board games; it is definitely in board games. But I'm excited to play that. That is a very hard to find game that is very beloved by many. So yeah, winning combination of people in behind that one, and I'm gonna definitely check that out. But anyways, I just talked about how I shouldn't buy more games, and here I am already. Um, I was listening to a podcast on New York Times the other day, The Daily, and they were doing an episode, a Sunday special, The Year in Gaming, and they had the editors that were the most into the hobby of video gaming. This is just basically talking about the year end, like the hopefuls to win game of the year and the front runners and things like that. And they did a really good job. And this is This is something I don't know a lot about. I'm not very, like, up to date on my video games, aside from the ones that my friends recommend to me. So, I was kind of fascinated by the stuff they're talking about. I have to check out this Blueprints game, that sounds really cool.
Oh,
I
yeah. Yep.
they mentioned something about, like, you need a notebook to get through it so you can keep on going back and solving the puzzles, and I was like, "Yeah, that's the geekiest pitch, and I love it, I want that."
Yep, yep. Yeah, that's been a popular one.
But before this podcast started, I literally started downloading Expedition 33 on Steam. So I'm hoping it's ready tonight and I can give it a shot. But that game looks amazing. And I've heard that it is kind of a shoe-in to win Game of the Year and many other awards this year. Are you familiar with this?
I super am. In fact, it has been my finger has been hovering over the buy button because as of recording, it's on sale for what, 25% off or 30% off on Steam.
Yep. Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. So I'm looking forward. It looks to me like a Final Fantasy game mechanically, in that it's like a turn-based combat game. The theme of it is some kind of post-apocalyptic-esque world or something like that. But this mysterious stone appears every so many years with a number on it, and some like evil deity basically eliminates everyone that's that age or older, or something like that. It's very odd.
Yep. Yep.
But the team is sent out to kind of try to fight this deity or this monster or something. So, graphically, it is very cool looking. I heard the combat is really neat because even though it's a turn-based game, it has this sort of real-time parrying element to it, which that's cool to me. That reminds me of Sea of Stars a little bit, which is a super fun RPG game. And I'm just a sucker for Final Fantasy style games in general. So this is like right up my alley. I'm looking forward to playing it. I'll probably have some words on it next week.
Yeah. It is made by a small French studio that like just to a lot of people came out of nowhere. Because they're a very, very small team for like the quality of the game that they've made.
Mhm.
And the game is, I've heard it described as unapologetically French. Like
Yeah.
some of the enemies that you're fighting are mimes. Like one of the characters walks around in a beret while carrying a baguette. I listened to the podcast called My Perfect Console. That is they have a weekly guest, usually involved in the games industry, but sometimes like a musician or a comedian, and they talk about
Mhm.
their favorite games. And they recently had on the composer behind Expedition 33, which was super fascinating to hear some like more behind the scenes stories of how that game came about.
Hmm.
Yeah, it sounds super cool.
Yeah, looks great. Nice. Yeah, I'll let you know how it is, but yeah, it's gonna be as cheap as it's gonna be for a little while, Harrison. So maybe this is your chance.
Yeah, well, the real question is like, do I get it now on PC or do I try to convince Lauren that we need it on PS5 because she probably will want to play it too.
Oh yeah, it seems like a controller game for sure, but
Yeah.
we don't really have a. Well, I don't know. Is it on PS4? Not available for PS4, so no. So I
Oh,
guess
okay.
it's PC or bust for me. All right. Anyways, I think on that we'll close up. But before we do, we need to announce what we're going to talk about next week. Harrison, do
Oh
you know what that
yeah,
is?
we're talking about birds.
No, we're not. We
Oh,
changed
no,
it.
no, we're not. Okay. We're talking about grandmas.
No, we're not.
Okay. Well, we're
It was,
talking about the intersection of birds and grandmas, and that
yeah,
is a holiday gaming gift guide,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, Harrison's referring to a conversation we had off the cast where we pitched other ideas, but yes, we settled on a holiday gift gaming guide, which could be anything. I've got some ideas that are not actually board games, but board game accessories that I'll be talking about. So, when you're shopping through those holiday sales for a gamer you love, these are things to consider.
Yeah. Yeah. Say
Yeah.
goodbye. Time to say
Okay.
goodbye.
Say goodbye. Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening. Drink water.
Yeah. Adamantly Analog is Corey Murphy and Harrison Dunn. Original themes and bumper music by Corey Murphy. Reach us at adamantlyanalog@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.